coming up on Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen.
What's your marriage thought? Stay off her nerves. Stay off her nerves. Be careful. Don't end up like my parents. Don't end up like my friends. It's impossible to turn a negative thought into a positive action. Listen, when you don't have a vision, you live your life with negative thoughts guiding you because you don't know what you're supposed to do. Without vision, people cast off restraint. But happy is he who follows what God tells me to do. I'm not living my life trying not to do something. I'm living my life trying to do something. Do you and your spouse have an issue that is very difficult to discuss? Or maybe you have a good marriage but want to make it even better. Today I'm going to share with you one of the most important messages I teach on marriage. These principles will help you and your spouse talk about important issues like money, sex, and communication. Best of all, you'll understand the purpose for your relationship and have a plan for your family's future. Today we're talking about the power of vision and how to have a vision retreat that can transform your relationship. One day I was in Oklahoma City doing a seminar for a friend of mine, David Smith, who just had a fabulous marriage. All my friends had good marriages, but David was the only guy that I ever thought, he's got a better marriage than I've got. I mean, he's always goo-gooing over his wife. It just, you got sick of listening to it. And he just, and you don't want to be around a guy that's always running his wife down. He was the opposite. Oh, Linda's incredible. Oh, this and this. Oh, this and that. You're just going, okay, David, thanks. Okay, we got it, David. So he said, Linda and I are going on our vision retreat next week. And I said, really? Huh? He said, yeah. And he just started talking about it. He looked at me and said, you know what a vision retreat is? I said, no. And he says, you're the marriage guy? Going all over the country teaching people about marriage, and you ever had a vision retreat? And I said, what is it? That irritate me. And so, brag about your marriage, and you made a vision retreat, or whatever. So, I said, no, David, I don't know. And so he said, well, Linda and I go away for 4 or 5 days every year. And he said, we wake up in the morning and we talk and pray. And he said, then we just have fun for the rest of the time and just are together. And he said, we talk about every area of our marriage. And listen, he said, we pray for every one of our children individually until we believe that we know what God desires for them for the next 12 months. And when we come home, we have a plan for each of our children and what we're going to do for them in the next year in our finances and our sex life and our schedule, in every area of our marriage. And when he's talking about it, I said, David, that's phenomenal. You have to have a vision for your marriage. So vision is letting God tell you what his purpose for your marriage is. God, why did you put us together? God, what are we here for? And God comes and gives you light. And here are the 5 virtues of vision. Why is vision so important? Well, let me just tell you 5 reasons. And let me tell you the alternative if these things aren't happening in your marriage. The 5 virtues of vision. Number 1 is clarity. Do you know why God put you together? Let me say this now. How do you know you're being successful if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish? You can't measure success. You say, why did God put you together? How do you know if you're being successful when your answer is That was my answer. If you came to Karen and me and you said, did God put you together? Absolutely. Why? How do you measure How do you get to a place called and say, we got there. We're at and it's awesome. Let me say right now. Confusion is the opposite of clarity. God never creates anything to operate in confusion. God wants us to operate in light. And God will speak to us if we'll let him speak to us. Number 2 virtue of vision is energy, passion. This is what Habakkuk 2:2 says. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets that he may run who reads it. See, when you don't know what the vision is for your life and your marriage, I mean, it's hard to get excited because you don't know. But when you put the vision down, it creates excitement. Let me say something about God's vision for your life. I used to think to myself, what would I ever do that would fulfill me? I can't tell you how much I love to do what I do. I can't tell you, when Karen and I sit down and put on paper the vision for our marriage in our lives, it's the most exciting. I thought if you served God, the Lord would send you someplace you didn't want to go. Okay, you say, Jesus, I surrender. Outer Tasmania for you. And get that smile off your face. Don't you ever smile again. You're serving me now, bud. That's the way I thought God was. And a dear gentleman from Scotland set me free because I was in church one day and I felt like I've got all these desires in my life, but I'm sure I'll probably never fulfill them. And here's what Campbell McAlpine said from Scotland. He said this: we don't have the kind of a God that gives you a desire and frustrates it. We have the kind of a God who gives you desire and fulfills it. And so some people would say, well, Jimmy, how am I going to get so passionate and energetic about this? When you hear God tell you why He made you, you will never be as excited in your entire life. I love to wake up in the morning. I love to wake up in the morning with that woman right there. I love what we're about. I love what we do. I don't have to do it. I get to do it. And every natural skill and talent in my life is being used. I couldn't do what many of you do. I just couldn't do it. I'm not wired that way, but I'm wired this way. Jesus said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And easy means custom fit. When I come and put my yoke on you, you'll say, that is the best fitting thing I've ever worn in my entire life. It's size you. Write that vision down, and the person who reads it's going to go, whoa, I get to do this? They're going to run. It's exciting versus apathy. And I remember sitting at home in a bad marriage, just couldn't get motivated. I didn't know what to do. We had no purpose. Just bored. Felt like I, just was in a sentence called marriage. Number 3 virtue of vision is purity. It says, without vision, people cast off restraint. It means they're going to live a bad life, a sinful life. But happy is he who keeps the law. When you don't have a vision, you live your life with negative thoughts guiding you because you don't know what you're supposed to do. Without vision, people cast off restraint. But happy is he who follows what God tells me to do. I'm not living my life trying not to do something. I'm living my life trying to do something. Before I had a vision, I was trying not to mess up and not to fail in my marriage. Now, I don't live my life not to do bad things. I don't have to worry about that. I have a vision for my life. What are you trying to, what's your marriage thought, Jimmy? Love that woman right there. Serve that woman right there. Meet her needs. Trust God. Turn to God. Make a difference in other people's lives. I know why I'm living my life. Purity. I don't want to live the rest of my life trying not to do something. I want to live the rest of my life trying to do something. And if you live the rest of your life saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want to mess up, you're going to live a bad life. Until you get God's vision for your life, happy is he who keeps the instruction that God gives him. It's the reason that you live. Number 4, virtue of vision is unity. Well, this is a huge one. Vision, unity. Division means 2 visions. The word division means 2 visions. Why do you fight? Because you don't see eye to eye. You ever heard that saying? Why don't you see eye to eye? Because you're looking one place and you're looking another place. Can 2 people walk together unless they're in agreement? No. Why? Because their heads are turned in different directions. When you're in agreement, you're looking right here. You're both walking in the same way. You've got one vision. But when you're not in agreement, you've got 2 visions. Division. And here's what Jesus said. Now, listen to what Jesus said. Luke 11:17. Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falls.
It is impossible to succeed while you're divided. And that's what the devil understands. In Genesis 11, God came down to the Tower of Babel, and here's what he said: because they're of one mind, nothing will be impossible for them. So the Tower of Babel became the place where God divided the languages of the earth because they were in rebellion to him. And he said, because they're one, nothing will be impossible. When you are unified in your marriage, nothing is impossible. When you are divided, you cannot succeed. You can't. Division, two visions. Do you have one vision from God, or do you both have your own way of looking at things and you're not seeing eye to eye, and one person's trying to go this way and the other person's going this way, and it's just a cat fight to try to see who's going to win that? And by the way, the word provision means for the vision. Why would God give you provision when you don't have a vision? But when you have a vision, he's going to give you all the provision for it. If he says to you, my will for your child, let's say you have 3 children, you go on your vision retreat and you pray about each of your children. You say, God, what do you want for these 3 children? And the Lord says, well, I want this for this child, I want this for this child, and I want this for this child. Guess who's going to pay for it? God. Because you have his vision, he's going to give you the provision for it. When you have vision, you will never lack provision. When you don't have vision, you're not going to get the provision that you want. Because why would God pay for something that he's not a part of? And I'm not saying he loves you, but provision means for the vision. Number 5, virtue. A vision is victory. Victory. This is the Message version of Proverbs 29:18. Listen to this. If people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are most blessed. Victory. You're going to succeed. When you get vision, you're going to be successful versus failure. Karen and I failed. We didn't have a vision, so we were failing. Let me talk about the process of vision real quick. So God created us in our mother's womb for a purpose, and that purpose is relationship. It's why we're alive. It's what God will bless. The devil's always working to try to divide us and to get us to take something as the purpose of our lives rather than someone, but God wants to give us a vision for our lives. Let me talk about the process of a vision retreat. I want to say this to you. It'll transform your life. It won't change your life. It will transform your life. It will transform your marriage. It's worth anything you have to do this. So let me just kind of go through this. These are the rules. Now this book, we wrote this book, and by the way, you can have a vision retreat without this book, but we wrote this book to help in the process because it tells you what to do before you go, the questions to ask and to answer while you're on your vision retreat, and what to do when you get home. So here are kind of the rules. 3 to 5 days away with no kids. Don't take your kids. If you take your kids, it's not a vision retreat. Okay, I'm saying. So you have to get a babysitter, leave them with mom and dad, leave them with somebody, but you need to get away alone together. Could you do it in a couple of days? Maybe, but you need 3 to 5 days. You need enough time to get away, to kind of, get in a good environment. And again, there are some things that you need to do before you go, and this book will help you to understand how to pray, how to get your heart right, all those kinds of things. Do it at least once a year, okay? Why would you do it more than once a year? If you're fighting, or if you have some huge life changes that are taking place in your life. See, Karen and I know when we need a vision retreat because we start arguing. Okay. And so we'll start talking about something and we can't get along, and what we understand, we're fighting about it, or just, kind of nagging at each other about it. And what we realize is the reason that we're fighting about this is because we don't have a vision in this area. It happens all the time. And so we will have a vision retreat more often than once a year if we feel like there's something unresolved between us. Let me say this about, by the way, let me just go by my notes here. It can be camping or a resort, anywhere you want to go. You say, does it have to be expensive? Take a tent into the woods. I mean, if that's what you enjoy, don't do it if you don't. But, Karen, let me tell you, Karen and I have stayed some really crummy motels. I'm talking about cheap, crummy, but we loved it because we were together and it's all we could afford. We didn't have any money. It doesn't even have to be expensive. If you go to an expensive place, let me say, but it needs to be a place that you're not too distracted to have your vision retreat. Half a day you pray and talk, and half a day you have fun. Okay. Now we're morning people. We wake up very early in the morning, and my brain is most awake from 5 in the morning until noon. That's when I do all my thinking from 5. If you want me to get me when I'm not thinking, get me after lunch. But Karen and I are the same way. So we wake up, we love to pray, we love to talk, we love to interact in the mornings like that. Some people, They're not morning people, so you may find a different time of day. 3 or 4 hours, you sit and you talk, you pray, you process, information through your book there. But the rest of the time, you have fun. It needs to be a fun time. Read the book before you go, because the book will give you some information about what to do and not to do before you go. An example of that is that you don't begin with confrontation. You don't begin by saying, "Thank God I finally got you here. You can't get away." And let me just tell you right now, a friend of ours, very, very godly guy, got his wife on the vision retreat. He kind of has a type A personality. He said, "Baby, we're going to the top of a mountain whether you realize it or not." And she did not go to the top of the mountain on her, So you might fight, and that's okay. Okay, let me ask you this question. I want you to process this with me now. Okay, let's say you don't go on a vision retreat because you're afraid you're going to fight. Let's just say that there's an issue that you can't resolve, and so it's going to stay unresolved, and you're going to have this chronic unresolved issue in your marriage for the next 15 years because you don't talk about it. Okay, or let's say you go on your vision retreat and you fight, and you just talk about it and you fight, and you stay right there, and let's just say it maybe takes you another 2 months of praying and talking until you finally resolve it and come up with a vision. Would you rather fight 2 months and live the rest of your life happy, or would you rather live in a chronically bad marriage for the next 15 years? You might fight. When Karen and I have our vision retreat and we begin to talk about issues, sometimes we get frustrated, we get angry, but we're committed to the process, and as soon as you resolve it, you don't ever fight again about that issue. You just don't fight. When we took our first vision retreat, we had 3 issues: our kids, money, and my schedule. And these were the 3 chronic. There were some issues. Our kids were young. There were some issues related to our kids. They were just always caused us to be aggravated at each other. Money was tight, and we had tension in that area. And then my schedule. Karen was always telling me, I didn't understand. I was very insensitive that I didn't understand that the decisions that I made affected Karen. And so I was very insensitive to do things that she didn't agree with. And I defended them rather than listening to my wife. So we went on our first vision retreat, and we talked about the big issues. We talked about the big, why did God put us together and all that. Very important. But then we got down to talking about those issues. We fought. When we talked about the kids, we kind of argued a little bit. We talked about money, we argued a little bit. When we talked about my schedule, we resolved all 3 of those issues. We came up with a vision. We agreed with what we believed God was saying. We stopped fighting, period. We did not fight for months after that, and we had incredible intimacy. Not dealing with it, you're never going to deal with it. Let me go into the next part of this. Begin by surrendering your marriage to God. I don't want to win in the discussion about our kids, my schedule, money, or any issue. I don't want to win. I want what God wants because we're submitted to God. So it's not 2 strong-willed people butting heads. It's 2 submitted people trying to find God. And you begin in that environment of saying, God, we want what you want. We surrender our marriage to you. And then you pray. You talk, but you're praying and hearing God. Now, some people would say, well, that's spooky, Jimmy. I don't hear God that way. Well, let me tell you the 3 different kinds of people. There are seers, hearers, and feelers. Karen is a feeler. I'm a hearer and a seer. When God speaks to me, I hear God. I just in my heart now. I'm saying I hear God, and I'm very visionary, and it's easy for me to see things. So I'll say to Karen, Karen, I believe that, the Lord said this to me, the Lord showed this to me. And Karen would say, I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. And I'll just think, okay, then just submit. And that's the answer to all difficulty in life. But Karen will say this, but let me tell you how I feel. And I've learned that God, I'm not talking about just emotions, I'm talking about godly feelings. Karen's a feeler, and I've learned a long time ago, I better listen to what she says when she says she feels something. Because when Karen feels something, 99.99% of the time, it is God speaking. So we'll talk about the kids, and I'll say, well, I believe the Lord spoke this to me. And she'll say, this is what I feel about that. And we don't bully each other. We don't dominate. We listen until we find a point of agreement. No one dominates. No one bullies. And it may take a while. And we're committed to that. And we sit there in the presence of God until we believe that we've heard, and then we write it down and we become accountable to it. This is what we're committed to.
I hope you enjoyed that teaching. Lifelong Love Affair is, I believe, one of the most powerful seminars I've ever done because it helps people to understand that first of all, you can have a marriage that lasts for a lifetime. And right now, for your gift of any amount, we want to send you the full CD message that's called The Secret of Lifelong Love. God created marriage to be a marathon, not a sprint, to last the rest of our lives, not to just last for a few weeks or months or years and then be over with, but you can have love that lasts for a lifetime. For your gift of $60 or more, we want to send you the entire 4-part Lifelong Love Affair CD series plus the book, Lifelong Love Affair. Now listen, there are things in the seminar that are not in the book, and things in the book that are not in the seminar. So you need both of them. That's why we're going to send it to you. And for $90 or more, we'll send you the DVD series, full four-part DVD series with the book. Now listen, what you heard on today's program is just a small part of the full Lifelong Love Affair seminar, where we're talking about so many important issues, listen, that will transform your marriage, that will give you skills and tools to have the marriage of your dreams. Again, that lasts for the rest of your life, that gets better and better and better, to know God's vision for your marriage, to have sexual intimacy in your marriage, to be able to understand, how to have the marriage of your dreams and really be married to your best friend. We want to get you this information. Here's how you can get it.
Transform your marriage into a lifelong love affair. For your gift of $60 or more, we'll send you Jimmy's latest CD series and book. For your gift of $90 or more, we'll send you the DVD series, book, and the Mountaintop of Marriage Vision Retreat Guidebook. In this inspiring series, Jimmy reveals how to stay in love for the rest of your life, how to have vision for your marriage, and how to have God's blessing on your relationship. For your gift of any amount, we'll send you the CD single, The Secret of Lifelong Love.
And I'm saying you absolutely can have a marriage that gets better and better and better, and you can have a marriage that lasts for the rest of your life.
No matter where your marriage is today, you can have a lifelong love affair. Experience Jimmy's latest series today.
Imagine that two people had a partnership in a business, and in that business, they, wanted to be in business together. They wanted to make money together, and they just kind of opened the doors of a business and just expected success, but they never agreed. They never agreed on where the business was supposed to go, or a plan specifically for that business, or the vision for what that business would ultimately accomplish. And Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together unless they first agree? And the answer is absolutely not. In marriage, and this is the thing, I know a lot of people are disillusioned about marriage. Karen and I were. We made every mistake. But understand, somehow when it gets to marriage, we're supposed to throw away the rule book. And we're just supposed to exist together in this wonderful paradise without ever talking, without ever having a vision and a plan for what we're doing. Now, this issue of having a vision for your marriage, it changed our lives. And our marriage was already good. God had saved our marriage, and our marriage was getting better and better. But Karen and I did not have a vision for our marriage. We had never sat down as a couple and prayed, never had a vision retreat. And, we got along okay. We had issues that were aggravating to us. Of course, at one point we were on the brink of divorce, and we had no vision at that point. But something, first of all, if you're not married yet, do this before you get married. As a pre-marriage couple, you should sit down and have a vision retreat. But if you're married and you're having tension, you're fighting, maybe you're just fighting like cats and dogs. Did you know that the reason for that is simply because we don't see eye to eye? You've heard that saying before. Well, why don't you see eye to eye? Because you're looking different places. But when God speaks to us, He gives us one singular vision of why we're married, what we're trying to accomplish. As I was saying in the teaching, most people, when you ask them if God put them together, they'll say yes. I hope you believe that about your spouse. I believed at the dark days of our marriage, I believed I'd made a mistake. But I didn't make a mistake. I married the right person, but we fought because we didn't see eye to eye until we had a vision retreat. And when we had our vision retreat, and we took about a half a day just to talk and pray and discuss issues and try to find God's mind on issues. And the other half of the day, we just went out and had a good time. At the end of that retreat, we just stopped fighting. We just stopped fighting. We had the most wonderful intimacy we had ever experienced. in our relationship. I want you to know, so can you. Take the time, whatever you have to do, to get the time to have a vision retreat. I promise it'll transform your relationship. You know, we're able to come to you right now because we have some very special people who stand with us here at Marriage Today. You know, it costs money to buy the airtime, to be on the station that we're on right now, and to do everything else that we can do. 100% of what we do as a ministry is because of the people who support us. And you know, not only do you get the benefit of knowing you're helping other people, when you become a partner with us, you get the benefit of receiving a resource nobody else receives, especially for our monthly Rock Solid partners. Karen and I are asking you to stand with us financially, to become one of our financial partners and help us keep coming back to you, but also to keep little children's parents together, to let people experience the marriage of their dreams. Become a partner. Here's how you can do it.
When you stand with Marriage Today, your individual effort multiplies with other like-minded partners, and together we can rebuild the dream of marriage for couples around the world.
I would recommend becoming a Rock Solid partner because you are grafting into a group of individuals that are committed to restoring marriage to this country, and that's something we want to be a part of.
In pursuit of this vital mission, Marriage Today utilizes a daily television broadcast, multiple live events, a comprehensive online outreach, and hundreds of marriage-building resources. Your partnership is literally making every facet of this ministry possible, and that means couples are receiving the help and hope they need to take their marriage to the next level of fulfillment and intimacy.
We enjoy the resources, we enjoy all of it, but I think just knowing that we're touching the lives of so many other marriages, creating an atmosphere for them to get the help they need.
Being a rock-solid partner with Marriage Today grants you immediate access to an exclusive library of the ministry's resources and intimately connects you with our mission of helping couples succeed in marriage.
We're proof that the ministry is beneficial and that it works. It has helped to save us, and that means that our children get to grow up with two parents in a home together. It makes a difference in our lives every single day that I couldn't imagine not being a partner.
Everyone has something to give, and there are millions of unreached couples who desperately need the marriage-strengthening resources of Marriage Today. That's why we need you to join us. Become a rock-solid partner with the ministry and mission of Marriage Today.
Thank you for joining us today. Support Marriage Today with your best gift and receive the series Lifelong Love Affair. Don't miss the XO Houston Marriage Conference with Jimmy and Karen Evans, July 10th and 11th at Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. Register online at xohouston.com. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Become a rock-solid partner today and connect with the mission of Marriage Today. Together, we can help couples succeed in marriage.
This program is made possible by the generous support of our faithful partners.